talk about body image, right? Body
Oh,
image, self-perception.
yeah.
I think, I don't know, I felt like this was a good topic for us to have a conversation around because
Yeah.
it's something that a lot of people struggle with and everybody I think can relate to it, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's
So,
taught me a lot too. When I think about stuff like this, I think about what I kind of had to call myself out on over the years.
yeah, absolutely. All right, got it. Welcome, welcome. We're talking about body image today, self-image,
Mhm.
our perception of ourselves in the mirror. This is, men and women, because I think a lot of people think that it's just women struggle with this type of thing, but a lot of men do as well.
Hmm.
So, hey, Crystal, what's up, girl? All right. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot to talk about with this, and I know we kind of discussed briefly beforehand, like how we wanted to chat about a little bit how, like, as we get older too, how our kind of perception of ourselves shifts or our priorities shift as far as body image and
Hmm.
that sort of thing as well. So, anywhere you wanted to start in particular, or?
Well, I think because I'd mentioned to you before that I kind of had to call myself out on a few things over the
Mm-hmm.
years. I think with me, if you want to talk about when you go through the different stages of your life, right?
Yes.
In terms of how old you get. When I was in college, I just happened to drop a lot of weight. And I was noticing that when people would say they were concerned about me because it looked like I was getting way too thin, that I was sick. I even had a doctor ask me if I was having a problem with eating disorders at the time. And I would walk away from those conversations feeling like I had won. It's like I won a game. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I look the way everybody wants to look. This is great. I should probably lose some more weight.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, once I got older, what is it that made me think that way? It's such a disturbing and kind of bigoted way to think, right? It's like,
Exactly.
oh, it's so terrible if I looked bigger than this. I've got to look at least this size.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm seeing all over the place as the hottest thing. So it's like, this is finally where I'm one upping people. But that's a really disgusting point of view. I mean, I admit that. It's like, if anybody was walking around way bigger than me, I would not think anything of it. I'm not going to harshly judge that person because they have a different body type. So why am
Mm-hmm.
I looking at this as like the holy grail body type
Right.
when
Right.
it's ultimately not healthy?
Right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that is, it's from society, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
supposed to look a certain way, and we all know this, right? You're supposed to, whatever, look in the magazines and stuff. Everybody's super skinny. I think now we're transitioning more to a time where it's like larger models are coming out, and it's a little
Mm-hmm.
more accepted transitioning. But I feel like it's still not accepted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like we're doing it just because of for the wrong reasons. Do you know what I mean? Like there's an underlying thing. It's like, okay, we're going to put this out there and we're going to show that everybody has different body types and you should accept yourself for who you are and what you look like and what's on the surface. But at the same time, you still need to look like those other girls. You know what I mean? You still need to look
Exactly.
like this. So I think
Exactly.
there's still that underlying, I don't know what you call it, like just a blanket of like how you're supposed to be, and especially for like younger teens and stuff. It's
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like they still don't accept themselves because look at the fitness industry, right, and in nutrition and things like that. Everybody's still going for the quick fix. They're still doing the same thing. So it's not like our mindset has really shifted that much if you think about it.
Right. Because you're making a really good
Yeah,
only for those specific areas. It's like
right.
a fashion company will think that it's so progressive if it has a bigger model, but
Hmm.
that same fashion company will still you can still see in its messaging. It's like, oh, okay, well, this is really for a particular niche, but when we're advertising, 99% of the time we're going to go for that stick thin. The like, if you want to look beautiful in our clothes, you have to look like a Victoria's Secret model,
Hmm.
which is so tough to achieve. So it's pretty hypocritical.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we'll throw this out there because we want to shut some people up who say that we only have these stick thin models.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I think, as a society, we're doing things to, be more inclusive, but there's still, like you said, there's still that underlying message. It's
Right.
like the main focus is still what it has always been. So I
Mhm.
guess we're getting to a place where it's shifting to a better place, but it's still going to take some time. I think it's still evolving. It's still going to take a while for us to just accept it because there's also the superficial reasons too. Somebody who superficially doesn't look healthy, then we associate it with they're lazy or unmotivated or something like that. Not to stereotype or anything like that, but I think that's how we think, right? We see something on the surface and we have certain projections or certain labels that we associate with that,
Yeah, absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And whether or not they're true, who's to say? I mean, there's plenty of people who are 90 pounds and extremely unhealthy, and then there's people who are a little overweight that have good health within them. Oh, you froze up on me. Give her a second here. Tara, where'd you go? All right. Anyway, well, while we're waiting for Tara's face to come back, do you guys have any thoughts on this or questions? Or there she is. Oh, let's have her rejoin. So give her a second. What do you guys think? Have you experienced this, in your own life, or what has been your kind of what resonates with you? Let's see. Give me one second. She's missing. All right. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a big issue for a lot of people, and what I wanted to talk with Tara about is as we get older, I think our priorities shift from more of looking at the superficial body and more of the internal body. So we become more focused on things like our health. That becomes a priority more than just like losing weight or looking good. I mean, that could still be a priority, of course, but we start to shift ourselves into a place where now we're trying to balance our blood sugar and we're trying to maintain heart health, or we're focused on building strength and for our bones and muscle health and all that kind of thing. So it's interesting when you think about it. Exactly. Health is definitely more of a priority than image. Yeah, and we all know, the funny thing is we all know this, yet we still there's still that underlying message that we all want to kind of achieve. All right, here we go. She's coming back. Give us a second here. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point, Crystal. Hey, there she is.
Hey, sorry about that.
Hey, I was just talking about the point that when we get older, we shift from, more of the superficial, what's on the outside to what's on the inside, and making sure we're functioning and heart health, and we start
Mhm.
having health issues. Crystal brought up when you're faced with certain health issues, you're not able to starve yourself. Exactly. So,
Mhm.
whereas when you were younger, you were able to take very extreme measures to look a certain way. You
Mhm.
can't do that anymore because you
Yep.
realize the not only physical repercussions of it, but also the emotional.
Yep. Definitely.
Going sideways there.
Yeah. Sorry, having all sorts of equipment issues this morning. Connections
It's
on
all
this
good,
phone.
man. It's
So
all good. Um, so yeah, and another thing to hit on is what's the difference between loving your body and being egotistical or narcissistic, right?
yeah.
On
Yep.
its surface. And you know, it's funny because there's a lot of people who claim to be healthy, or a lot of fitness enthusiasts, or people who look good on the outside, but they're very, very disconnected from their body, very
Yep.
disconnected from their body.
Mhm.
Or they use the body as a protective mechanism.
Mhm.
So if you look at somebody like a bodybuilder, there's a lot of bodybuilders who have very issues with self-worth and insecurity, and they actually use not all of them, but a lot of there's many out there who use the physical body as protection. And I wanted to bring up actually a documentary that I watched a few weeks ago. It's called Transformer, and it was about a transgender competitive power lifter, a bodybuilder, who this was like this huge, muscly, very masculine looking guy. I think he was also in the Navy or the Marines, one of those things. And basically he lived his whole life not as him. He had this outward appearance, right? And I mean, he loved bodybuilding and everything like that, but the two things didn't match up, how he was feeling inside and, you know, what he looked like on the outside. So essentially he was almost using the muscles and the masculine and masculinity and all that as his protective mechanism to protect from the underlying emotions within him, realizing that he would rather be a woman, right? So so it was really, I recommend that to anybody. It's called Transformer. It's I believe it's on Netflix. Really interesting take on body image and self-image, and how somebody can go through basically their entire life living a certain way or trying to look a certain way, and just feeling very, very disconnected from their body.
So am I understanding this right? The takeaway from the documentary is that this person who was essentially a woman wanted to live in denial of that identity. So they wanted to be as hyper masculine in appearance and behavior as possible.
Yes and no. I mean, he felt the pressures from the outside. His family grew up in like a very poor kind of family, and they weren't as, I guess, accepting of things like this, as, you know, as some are. And he, like I said, he always knew, I guess, that he had this other side to him, but he always kept it hidden, secret, because it's like, hey, there's this big masculine competitive bodybuilder who is well-renowned, world-renowned, and has won like national titles and stuff, famous guy. This is his image, right? This is his image. Right. So he felt stuck. Like, how can he be who he truly is or who he wants to be, right? So not completely, even though he looks good on the surface, he's not connected at all, you know, to his body. And he did end up going through the transition, and he has like sons and stuff who support him, and that was the other thing too, because as he's transitioning, he's even with taking things like hormones, he's still like muscular, like 300 pounds of muscle. So the image that we have of like a woman, right? It doesn't match up. So that was another struggle that he had too. So it was really interesting how just how much pressure and how you know, he was suicidal at certain points and things like that in his life. So it was a really good documentary, and just showing the internal battles and the emotional struggles of something like this, and how the pressures of society and how the pressures of your family can really have a huge impact on you not living as who you truly are. You know, go through your whole life. Yeah.
You said that's on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fascinating. And I think I told you before, I mean, it's not directly related, but you know, you talking about wanting to uphold a certain persona, right? Like that's what's popular, that's what you're world renowned for. There's a big connection, I think, between these, I always refer to them as the Fitspo, like the Instagram personalities. They have the workout videos on YouTube and TikTok, Instagram. They're super popular, 1 million followers. And I think their profitability is so dependent on them looking a certain way. You know, it's not just them saying that you should do this because I do this and it makes me much stronger. Like I have better endurance. I have better blood work results. It's, I look like this, and you need to work in order to look like me. Everybody follows me because they think I look incredible. And you can get as close to me as possible if you do this, like buy my fitness packages and diet plans. So for example, there was one YouTube workout person that I was doing a lot of the videos with, and she felt the need to make a special video to call attention to the fact that she had gained weight. And it was almost like she was doing a mea culpa, like just explaining why, she had gained weight in her legs, and, oh, this is the place where I always accumulate the weight. Like that's where it's most visible when I get a little lazy, or however she referred to it as. And it's very sad that, she's still a perfectly healthy active person, but maybe her thighs looked a little bit wider than she's used to showing her followers. And I guess she needed to explain that because she didn't want people thinking, oh, wow, she looks a little bigger. That
What happened?
Yeah. It's like, oh, I shouldn't give her money. She's a fraud.
Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, you see that a lot. You see that a lot, especially on social media and stuff like that. Or people are like eat a big meal and they're bloated, and it's just like normal bloat, I mean, and it's like I gained 5 pounds, so it's just this repetitive like cycle of just bombarding people constantly with this kind of stuff.
Yeah. I apologize if I'm moving around for a second.
It's all good. Let's take a tour of your house or your condo.
Having these issues with my phone. I have it on the travel charger, but I'm going to put it on the regular charger now. And
show us your beautiful view of downtown.
Downtown Crane.
The other thing to bring up is I know we also talk about the darker side of aging, right?
Yeah.
Where people who are very, very focused superficially on just the outer appearance, as you get older, you kind of can't help gravity, right? You can't. People are fighting to kind of, do all they can to maintain that image of that superficial body, right? So things like plastic surgery and Botox and liposuction, all those kind of things come in to the surface. But it's almost like people go through a type of grieving process when that happens, right? The first being denial, right? Denial is the first thing. Yeah. And just denial that, you're actually getting older, and stuff that you're going to get wrinkles, you're going to get, it's just part of the human process, right? Our bodies age and shit happens. So yeah, people are always fighting. And then this is a whole other industry, right? Not just the fitness industry, but like the beauty industry, and how we're constantly being bombarded with products that can make us look younger, right? Can make us look how we're supposed to look, can make us look like those photoshopped images on the books or the magazines we read, or on television, stuff like that. So I think that is another really, really huge issue.
Yeah. I was actually I don't know if you saw this, but there was just a headline about Parliament considering a law where if someone posts a photo on Instagram that's been photoshopped or face-tuned, they're required by law.
What's face-tuned?
It's a new software where you can make yourself look so different than how you actually look in real life. Like an example would be if you look up on Google Khloe Kardashian Facetune, odds are the top thing is going to be this.
Keep bringing up the Kardashians for some reason. Kim K it up.
Yeah, because her face, somebody posted, or she posted looks like a professional portrait, and it looks nothing like her. So then I think at first people were like, oh wow, she must have gotten a lot of plastic surgery on the sly, but it was just this Facetune program that she was using. So there are these impossible standards of beauty that people are looking at now, or they're looking at these people that are, I don't know, 55 years old, and they're thinking, oh my gosh, how does this person look like they're 30 years old? I'm such a hack.
They're probably 30 years old.
It's like it's not always healthy living or even plastic surgeons procedures. Sometimes these people are just cheating and using Facetune and Photoshop
filters.
It's just a person that does not exist.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a big issue with social media. I mean, look at all the filters we have social media. I mean, before we put a photo up, we kind of adjust the contrasting and the lighting and make it so we don't show imperfections in our skin tone and stuff like that. I mean, we've all done this. We all do it, right? So To what extreme, it depends. But yeah, I mean, you see photos and it's like, well, I don't know actually what that person looks like.
Right.
So it's almost like we live double lives, you know, social
Mhm.
media. People are big into social media, kids that are big into social media. I think a lot of them do live kind of double lives because they have their image, the perfect, you know, perfect hair, perfect skin,
Mhm.
um, what they're supposed to look like or what people are attracted to. And people are attracted to it, right? They could be attracted more to that than a photo of somebody who has a double chin and just got up out of bed and, you know, a tousled mess and all that. I mean, it's just what we do. And yeah, and but then it's like, how can somebody truly be themselves, right? They're going out into the world and they're, you know, probably have underlying issues, maybe self-worth, insecurity, or stuff that they're not dealing with. But they can always go on social media and almost get like a little high from it, a temporary high from the attention, right? Almost like this is who I want to be, but it's not who I actually am, right?
Mhm.
It's not who I actually am. And it goes to show like how many like teenagers and stuff are struggling. I mean, you see there's a lot of emotional issues for teens right now. You know, with the big blast of social media, it's become an issue, not only cyberbullying, but kids committing suicide and
Mhm.
stuff that really goes deep and all because of stupid shit a lot of times too, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you could think back, when I think back when I was a teenager, like the priorities were completely different, right? Than your priorities. Now I'm 38 years old, right? So it's interesting. It's an interesting
Yeah.
observation.
Because I think it's that it's totally that like your priorities are completely different. Your brain isn't fully developed yet, right? Like that happens at 25. And also the importance you put on other people's comments, and then you grow up and you realize these people are meaningless in your life. Like they have no benefit to you. If they're just around you because they want to make a rude comment about the way you look and get off on that, then that really speaks to their character, doesn't it? Like, why should you
Hmm.
put stock in what this person is saying? But I remember when I was a teenager, I used to go to school and I used to be literally sweating, like sitting there sweating in class if I was near certain people because I would be waiting for them to say something like, oh, your nose is huge, you need a nose job, oh, your eyebrows are disgustingly bushy, or something like that. That was,
Hmm.
when pencil thin eyebrows were popular back in the 90s. So I look at that now and I'm like, well, if somebody said that to me randomly now, made a hurtful comment about my face, yeah, I would be hurt by it, but would it be a devastating event? Like, who is it coming from?
Right.
These people don't mean anything.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and some of the people you never even met, like on in the online world.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like relationships too. I know I want to get touch on this too. How you know that shifts as well. So when you're younger, you're focusing a lot of times you're focusing on superficial type of relationships, right? You're focused
Yeah.
on um, even if you're not really into the person, if you look good together, or if that person looks good, is attractive, has a nice body, whatever, you're a couple, right? And then as you get older, you're looking for something deeper. So it's that's another kind of interesting way that we shift over time
Yeah.
from the superficial to the not so superficial.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Hmm.
Getting more confident too, like just more mature and confident, it makes you see things more as they really are. Like when you're young and you have this low opinion of yourself, it's very easy for you to get this filter almost in your brain where you're looking at other people and you register them as looking so much better than you. Like, oh, these people are just borderline flawless, and I have all these flaws I see in the mirror. And then when you get older and you start making better connections with somebody because it's more about who they are inside, you think, well, these people aren't flawless looking. Like, they're great people, they have a supportive network around them, they're worthy of love, but they don't look like these people you see on social media, and they
Yeah.
shouldn't look like that.
Yeah, I think you definitely care less because it's more about the meaningful relationship. It's more about who they are as a person, right?
Right.
So you're
Right.
not just thinking from your head or just from what your eyes see, but you're feeling more from your heart.
Right. And then it
Yeah.
sucks too, because it's like you start thinking more realistically when you get older. It's like, okay, well, this image I had in my head of people looking perfect, that's not real. And that's great. And then Facetune and Photoshop come along. And it's like with the advent of these apps exploding in popularity, it's like, okay, well, now I'm seeing these people that when I was a kid and I would look around, I would see people who look like these fake characters on Instagram. It's all
Hmm.
fake. It's just stories that these celebrities are telling the world, and the world buys it. They're like, oh,
Even
wow, gorgeous.
even like video games.
Mm-hmm.
Like the newer video games, how everybody looks a certain way, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, like depends on the video game, of course, but yeah, like the women in these video games have like disproportioned bodies and
Mm-hmm.
to attract people, right? And the guys are very muscular and very masculine looking and so it's just like across the board, no matter what it is, we're always our subconscious minds are always open to this information,
Right.
whether we know it or not consciously on a conscious level.
Right. Yeah.
We're always being bombarded. Yeah. So that's why it's hard to shift out of that place, because it's like I'm it's just like, so you're like an outcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you shift? I mean, what's your opinion on that? Like, how do you shift to a better place for yourself or make it easier for yourself? It's more about observation and just awareness
Yeah.
initially, probably, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think for me, I mean, my experiences tell the true story, and then I make up the fake stories. That's how I look
Right.
at it, right? It's like,
Exactly.
look at everything that I've gotten in my life, all the good things that have come my way in terms of just relationships I have with other people, like my network. I have people who love me, people who are supportive and want to spend time with me. I'm worthy of that. Nobody's casting me into a pit because I look disgusting. So anything that is making me feel like I am unworthy of people being drawn to me for whatever reason, this is just something I'm making up in my own head.
Hmm.
I haven't failed in some way where I'm not deserving of good things.
Yeah. Your
Oh, go on.
your life works like a mirror, right? So what you put
Mm-hmm.
out there, project, or how you feel about yourself, that is going to be your perception of how others see you. So, a lot of it is tuning into doing inner work or inner healing, or
Mm-hmm.
finding out, working with your inner child, and um, getting to the bottom of why you feel so insecure, or why you're always comparing yourself to people around you.
Mm-hmm.
Why when you look in the mirror you don't like what you see, rather than when you look in the mirror you see something beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all our perception, and a lot of that has to do with us getting to know ourselves again,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of us are just stuck in our head, and we're stuck in what's going on outside. But we need to do the inner work to really find out, kind of peel the layers of the onion off, and find out how to love ourselves again, essentially,
Yeah, I
right?
totally agree. It's all about that peeling the layers, right? You have
Yeah.
to you have to unravel the insecurity and find out what is it exactly that's making me do this. And I think a lot of it is just this is what you've been trained since you were a kid to
Right.
believe, and you have to. I know I have to recognize that as forms of bigotry, right? If I think that something is the the best way you can look, it's not fair. It's like I look at people who don't look that way and I know that's not wrong. So I shouldn't think, well, I mean, I need to look super youthful. I need to look super thin. It's like if you're getting to the other end of the spectrum, that's not a person who's bad or has failed. But that's what I've been told by society since I was in probably first or second grade is the way things are.
Hmm. Yeah, but it's not the way things are,
Yeah,
essentially.
right.
So yeah, a lot of people are working from the outside in, but you have to work
Mm-hmm.
from the inside out, right?
Yeah,
A lot of
right.
people are thinking, okay, if I achieve this, this, and this, I look a certain way, then I'm going to be happy inside, then I will love myself.
Yes.
until you get there and you realize you still don't love yourself. Look at the example of the bodybuilder, right? Or
Yeah.
somebody who's a fitness enthusiast who is still very self-conscious, very insecure.
Hmm.
That internal stuff didn't go away. It's still there. So
Exactly.
you did all that work and you try to make yourself look a certain way and you realize there's still a hole here. There's still a void here. So you have to find out what is that void? What is that void? You're not going to find it by looking for stuff outside of you. You're not going to find it by buying new things or even through dating a certain person. You
Hmm.
need to find it within yourself.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and love yourself.
Right. Because then all the outside stuff is more fulfilling. It's true. I've been very guilty of this. People who work things backwards. It's like all these outside
Of course,
forces
we all have.
make me happy and fulfilled. But
Right.
you have to do that work on yourself before any of that can really stick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you fill up that void and you feel good about yourself, then everything else outside of you just falls into place.
Right.
You know, your perception shifts,
Hmm.
your body even shifts, the emotions shift, everything about you shifts, but it
Right.
all starts with getting to know yourself again
Yeah.
and finding what those limiting beliefs are within you, what those fears are, what are those things that that you're truly feeling, and not just stuffing them away, or not just trying to put a band-aid on them, or not just trying to alleviate them by stuff outside of you.
Right. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you're always going to want more. I've seen it time and time again. I've seen myself doing it. I've seen friends and family doing it. It's like, okay, well, if I have this person around, or if I get this procedure done, then that's going to open up all these doors, and it's going to be like the new me. Well, okay, it's the new me until a year and a half goes by and
Hmm.
the novelty is worn off and you want something more.
Yeah, it's the drug.
Yeah,
It's
right.
the drug. It just
Hmm.
depends what your drug of choice is,
Exactly. Right.
right? Yeah, it does.
Exactly.
So, yeah, cool. Um, anything else? Anything else? Guys, anybody watching have anything? I think we covered a lot.
Yeah.
We covered relationships and all
Hmm.
that good stuff. Anything else, Tara? Anything else from our fans, our viewers? Crystal?
I think that was it for me. Just
Yeah. No,
yakking
that's,
away.
what's that?
That was all my yakking away.
Until your camera just like explodes
Yeah, I don't know
or
what's going
conks out.
on. The live keeps dimming. I'm not sure. It's definitely not a charge thing because I have it on the charger now.
Weird. I don't know.
That can be your next IG live
It's the
talking about.
it's the full moon.
Yeah, talk about my city.
Paranormal activity in Tara's apartment. Thank you,
Oh, thank
Crystal.
you.
Thank you. Yeah, I always like talking about this stuff because it's I just feel like it's such a huge issue, and it's still not, we're evolving, we're moving in a certain direction, but it's still, there's still those like you said, those underlying meanings, and it's you just feel, I feel so much empathy for when we were younger, like it was hard. We still had these issues, but I feel like now it's worse. It's more so
It
because of
is.
the online world, and because it's so
Yeah.
easy to, like you said, put filters on stuff. And I really feel for anybody who feels like they're not good enough or they're insecure just because of stupid stuff. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
because you feel you need to look a certain way, and you don't love yourself, or you don't accept yourself for who you are.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
totally agree. There's too much exposed now. There's too much opportunity for people to troll each other online. It's easy to say mean things if you're huddled in a basement, right? Thousands of miles away from who you're insulting.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It makes it easy. It makes it easy.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
all right, cool. So on that note,
Yep.
yeah, very
All
tough for
right,
young kids
PhD.
today.
Very tough. Very,
Yeah,
very tough.
it is. But it's all about awareness too. So that's a big key. Being aware of when you are being bombarded, or when you are being kind of sucked into these I don't know, energetic structures that are trying to kind of essentially make you think a certain way, and make you be a robot in a sense, right?
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
we do, we're kind of trained to just be these robotic, and not think from our hearts, but more just think, or just be in like this unconscious state. So we're not truly awake half the time. So it's about waking up, and it's about paying attention to what's going on around you,
Yeah.
and also the stories that you're telling yourself.
Yeah. And I guess, also, I guess for me, it was also about, and I still have a lot of work to do on this, but it's also, you talk about society's influence, and it is horrible for kids. You don't want to be another cog in the wheel, right? You don't want to be part of that message to kids. Like, you need to make sure that you're not ugly. It's tough because, I actually had to be, a friend years ago brought this to my attention. Like, there's no reason why I should be complaining to my friends. Oh, I haven't exercised in 2 weeks and I've been eating too much ice cream. I'm going to get so gross and so big. And that's a wrong thing to say. It's a wrong way to look at things. And I'm just contributing to this whole message that's being driven into kids' heads, that they need to really work so they don't look unworthy of good things. It's really sad. It's really, really sad.
Yeah, I mean, we all do it. We all do it
Yeah.
because we're trained that way. We're trained.
Yeah.
It's kind of stamped in our brain, and that's why it's so hard to shift out of it. But the more we can kind of wake up or catch ourselves, the key is catching ourselves when we're doing that, because words have a lot of power too. So when you're doing a lot of negative self-talk, what is that doing? It's basically reinforcing those limiting beliefs or reinforcing those insecurities that you have deep down. So it's totally about catching yourself when you're doing it. And again, that's about waking up. It's about being aware and not falling asleep into this robotic kind of state, unconscious state that we often do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The status quo is very dangerous.
Yeah. Evil. Yeah. But it's dangerous. We could say it's horrible and stuff like that, but it really has just come down to just paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
To who's trying to influence you, what's trying to influence you, and how you're trying to influence yourself, essentially, or reinforcing those things about yourself that aren't actually true.
Totally. Be mindful of the message you're putting out in the world.
Be mindful.
You don't
be
like
mindful of the message.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So cool. Thank you, Tara.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you. Always fun. Always a pleasure. Thank you, everybody who joined today. I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion. I enjoyed it. It was good.
Yeah.
Good topic. Good
Stuff.
topic to
Always
cover. Yeah. So if nobody else has anything or you don't have anything, then I guess that's a wrap.
All right.
Sound good?
Thanks, Jen. Thanks.
All right. Till next time, everybody. Peace.